thank you for joining us at the SCL. It's Finch and Tolly back at it again. Tolly, we just saw a lengthy set there. How you feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling great. I don't know how Goremizer and Taco are feeling right now, but I know who is feeling great, obviously. KhaoticPurpose Esports, after 2-0ing Rival, now make it to the land.
That's right. They were able to get up over them, Kaz. That was such a big set for them over there in EU, where the standings were pretty close between them. So coming away with a 2-0 was just a big deal. Such
a big gap decider there, because now Rival were the European team that usually make it to these SCL lands. They finally won one of their sets in the summer gauntlet, or not the gauntlet, but the summer Valencia, where they met the finals there against Astral Authority. They couldn't overcome them, but they did get to that position. But now they're not even going to make the next land afterwards.
And I believe technically they were tied in points, but now after the 2-0, I mean, they win the head-to-head, so they'll be the ones that are placed up ahead of them.
Let's take a look at the European standings here coming out of the SCL, at least from the European side of things. Enix at the top there with their first loss earlier on to Era Eternity. Unfortunately for Era, they did not make it, not having enough points, and Rival not going to make it either. It's going to be Kaz.
But give them the consolation prize, though, for splitting with Enix. They were the only team to do so all split. So, I mean, Era Eternity, for whatever it's worth, you did take a game off of them, but it looks like, they did have 1 point going into that 2-0 we just saw. So they ended up with 4. That's why we see them there in second place.
It's true. A little bit too little, too late there for Era Eternity, but they have a lot of knowledge that they probably accumulated after that set that they should be able to take with them in the future.
And now we're switching over to the NA side of things. We still got 3 more sets to bring you. Again, this is going to be the last week of that SCL action for you before we go to the LAN. So we're going to be taking a look and seeing how all these teams are shaping up.
First set of the day from North America is going to be Obey Alliance against Astral Authority. A very intense matchup between these two North American teams.
Yeah, it's a huge matchup. Astral Authority tied for first place right now, going up against Obey, who are right there underneath them at third place. And I believe it's only 3 points that separate them. So a 2-0 here could help shift these standings tremendously.
Especially if that 2-0 is going to break. If there's ever a tie, that 2-0 is going to be that head-to-head record decider of which team is going to have the higher seeding.
Exactly. The head-to-head matchup, when you got the point tie, is what is the final decider for them. So this is huge between these two teams. This is sort of the top end. If what we saw before was like that long slugfest, and I think now we're going to see some really excellent play. Don't have to worry about these two teams knowing how to end some games.
I mean, the former world champions, Obey Alliance, formerly known as Team Eager, with one replacement in the Hunter role, Zachsy filling in for Air Cougar, have been making some of these transitions that's been helping out Obey Alliance, at least. Not as much as they used to dominate the scene, but it's still a good, smooth transition. I'm really excited to see if they make it to land and how they'll perform there.
And that's what I want to see here, too, because we have those picks and bans ready for you. What is it they prioritize? Do they want to get Zachsy on something that he's comfortable with here in this picks and bans?
It could be the case, because on the flip side, Astral Authority have Transonics. Knowing him and his playstyle, he loves to fight, he likes to get in your face, and he likes to try to make those plays happen.
Oh, yeah. That's Transonics all over. And normally when we're on the console seed, Tolly, what I like to look at in particular is between those two mid laners. They can be really, who has the biggest impact matters a lot. But with these two teams in particular, with Dwurst and Wolves, I'm kind of looking at Solo.
Solo lane should be providing a lot of fireworks, especially if there's going to be the junglers camping it out for them between Myflin, between KhaoticPurpose. I'm expecting an aggressive 2v2 between that Solo jungle side.
And we're very likely seeing, though, a focus on mid lane come out early. Astral Authority picking up the Soul with the first pick. We've seen Soul be huge impact.
Absolutely. Controlling a lot of space with the Stellar Burst and the Supernova just to confirm some objectives. It's also leaving in a little bit of a question mark in the sky. Is this going to be for the mid or the Hunter role?
That's exactly right. Supernova sometimes can be the deciding factor in a team fight. That's how we see it picked up. And then Obey taking Skadi and Artio. So that's a lot of pressure that they've already picked up. I'd be afraid of that Obey draft.
It's also a lot of space control between the Permafrost as well as the Cripple Field from Artio. They can play very aggressive, making it very difficult to really get away from them.
And then Ratatoskr. So that really seems to be the name of the game. They're the ones with, I think, the strongest initiation factor so far, as Astral Authority rounded out that first round with Fafnir.
Absolutely. It seems that they've definitely locked in that global pressure, trying to get more aggressive plays happening from Obey Alliance. I'm expecting that they sort of kind of revealed their hand, at least in the jungle role, of what they really want to do, whereas Astral Authority haven't elected to pick that position quite yet.
And I think that Obey Alliance, this is not a draft that says, and then Athena coming in, this is not a draft that says to me that they're going to be sitting back and waiting on Astral Authority to make a move. Obey want to be the ones making that first move. Now, do you think we're going to be seeing Artio solo now that Athena's locked in?
More than likely. Now, you could still run the Athena in the solo lane. She does have that global pressure with a Defender of Olympus to just ping-pong from the solo to the dual lane, but it's safer to run her in the support role simply because the dash taunt can also really synergize with the Skadi permafrost. If you get taunted into the permafrost, now you're just going to keep ping-ponging into the enemy.
And then the Scylla to round it out. This composition to me seems pretty clear what they're trying to do. A lot of setup for some big-time damage.
This almost looks like a composition that Astral Authority would run from the Obey squad because, honestly, Brochacho loves this Athena. He will always position himself in the best possible way to get the taunts off for his mid laner.
And I agree with you. This does kind of feel a little bit like an Astral Authority draft for you, but it's Obey Alliance who are going to be going for it. So how well that Wombo combo gets executed by them is what's important. And the thing is, they've got multiple ways to set it up, so the real pressure's on Delta Marine. When does he choose to fire?
And multiple angles in the solo lane as well. Different styles going for the Hand of the Gods on Dwurst, playing this Artio like you predicted, and Wolves on this Erlang Shen, trying to find the right kill opportunity, going for this horrific emblem, which will slow a lot of movement speed.
Now, does the cripple field from Artio give Erlang a hard time?
Absolutely, because you're trying to max out your Mink/Turtle form, right? So the whole idea is once that's being used in trying to go from the melee to the archers, you stop it halfway. Still going to find the proc in terms of the extra attack speed once it does go off, but you could just literally sit in front of the Erlang Shen and prevent him from ever using his escape.
It looked like Astral Authority were trying to contest those buffs, but we can see both of them landed on Obey Alliance to their rightful owners, no problem. Where the invade is still going on is over here on this dual lane side. pbnjellly and Zachsy got a lot of pressure on the Transonics because he doesn't have a support here with him. Now they're invading, taking away the red and the purple to make life a little bit harder on the ADC from Astral Authority.
Not still going to the lane quite yet since that purple buff is up. I like the idea trying to limit the maximum farming potential out of the hunter from Astral Authority. And this is allowing Obey Alliance to just ignore the wave entirely because they have it pushed to their tower.
And they're moving over to the mid lane where we're already seeing Brochacho in a little bit of trouble. Looks like he hasn't taken the jump just yet, and he's going down for first blood to Zachsy. That's a scary target to get first blood.
Just slight miscommunication there. Brochacho going in. The rest of the enemy was just collapsing on him. Astral Authority were not prepared for that 4-man collapse whatsoever.
They definitely weren't, and that all comes down to the pressure they were able to get in mid lane from Delta Marine and Myflin, along with starting the support in the duo lane where they used to be. pbnjellly and Zachsy out-pressure Transonics, collapse on that jungle side.
Scylla used to have a bad stigma of like, oh, she doesn't really clear the wave as better as other mid-mages, but with the Soulstone, she clears pretty well.
Still more aggression, this time on a Delta Marine. He gets cleaned up by KhaoticPurpose. They needed that return kill. Myflin going to dash out of there, surrounded by 3 members, and he does.
Nice little escape there from KP, not able to take even too much damage whatsoever, finding a return kill after losing Brochacho. Unfortunately for the Astral Authority jungler, it wasn't first blood, but it's good enough to keep up the pace against Myflin.
And this is a pretty... I think this is something that's impactful. The first blood goes on a Zachsy in the duo lane, so it's not really going to impact the rest of the map right away, whereas the first kill for Astral Authority goes to KhaoticPurpose.
That's true, and because of that, the experience per minute is certainly in his favor. 602 to 522. Wolves baiting himself out because right around the corner is KP.
Dwurst gets pulled into the ultimate from KhaoticPurpose. Excellent job executing that kill between him and MOR Wolves. See you later, Bear.
And that's what you got to do against any Guardian in the solo lane, especially before level 5. But against an Artio, it doesn't really matter if you're level 5 or not. There is no real big ultimate threat that you have to worry about. It does build up some passive stacks to get you some MP5, but it's not that get out of jail free card like a lot of other solo laners, for example, the Xing Chen, the Ymir, the Sobek, that would use their ultimate to escape any sort of danger. And that's what you got to do with the timing of it, is to gank the solo laner before their defensive items come online.
And this is really what Wolves had to do. I think you're 100% right here, Totally. When Myflin and Delta Marine work together to establish pressure in mid early, what do? Then use your jungle solo to put pressure on the right-hand side of the map. That's going to let them start to use that pressure to help back out Coviiii, who might have fallen a little bit behind Delta Marine if not for that early kill.
Wolves didn't even need to use the horrific emblem. they didn't have to tower dive that simply because of the Typhoon that knocked Dwurst up. The damage was just too much for him to handle. And honestly, this could be a slippery slope for Dwurst. He's trying to build into this jungle clear build with his Bumba's Mask, also the Hand of the Gods. And because he's getting behind a little bit early, it could be Wolves that could straight up steal some buffs after clearing waves.
And I think that's an underrated part of Susano's kit, as we do see pbnjellly kind of rotating into this mid lane. Could spell trouble for KhaoticPurpose, does force out the beat, so good move for them. But the point I was making is that Susano's kit, yes, has a lot of mobility, yes, has a lot of damage, but it also has a lot of control.
Absolutely, just trying to find the right angle. So much mobility to be able to go around the corners with this wind siphon, as well as the pull back. He's just so versatile along many options. That's why he's a very popular jungle pick if you're confident in your mechanical abilities in both console and PC.
And I really like him with the Fafnir pick, because Fafnir doesn't bring as much crowd control as your typical support does, like outside of when he's in that dragon form. So this helps make up for that, I think, in a little bit by having the Susano over there for you in the jungle. Helps get some lockdown so that you can set up Coviiii and Transonics a little better. A
nice little mix between the aggressive and defensive options. Since Brochacho would like to be the aggressive one, he knows what his job and role is depending on what god he's playing. He likes to be the engager, but he doesn't always care to be. He's willing to just sit back and peel, and that's probably what's going to be the case as the game progresses, especially considering Coviii's playing the Soul, Transonics is playing the Rama. That's a lot of in-hand damage, so Brochacho needs to make sure that he's min-maxing his coerce at all times.
Despite the earlier lead, the XP per minute has kind of pushed back into the favor of Obey Alliance. We saw for the moment Myflin, Deltamere out in front as Defender of Olympus being channeled onto Zachsy to come crashing down. Good thing Brochacho and Transonics are both out of the way of that return damage. Instead, hits all 3 shots onto him, and Deltamere cleans up KhaoticPurpose.
It seems that they were trying to really dive that mid lane. Myflin was very low as well. It's sitting at 1% health. Action in the dual lane, action in the mid lane as well. And it seems Deltamere, because there was no beats available for KP, he got locked down.
Probably trying to dive and clean up Myflin, but gets out-traded. Dwurst having a little bit of a hard time here against Wolves in the solo.
And the reasoning behind it is this: even though you could try to cripple out the original turtle or mink form, the cooldown is a lot longer on Dwurst's side of things before he gets that breastplate of valor.
That's right, Dwurst going with the Shoes of Focus to get started off. Not going to be very tanky here in the early game, so KhaoticPurpose and Wolves could really have an easier time trying to get in here and make that gank happen, at least for a little while. Pull back in, but pbnjellly, good discipline from Coviiii, not to overreact, has those beats still available, recognize Myflin wasn't quite in position to follow up.
Jelly not maxing out his taunt quite yet, still sitting at only at level 7. Once you do max out that taunt, you can confirm a lot of damage. It's a 2-second duration, and not only can you confirm, you know, your other god's abilities, is specifically the Scylla Root Crush combination, but also your own shield wall, which has a huge base damage.
A sub 7-minute tower and solo laner goes down for MOR Wolves. I would not be surprised if after that we start to see that Erlang Shen rotate a little bit more for Astral Authority, as clearly he's had all the pressure against Artio and Dwurst.
Building into high diversion is Wolves. He has horrific emblem. He can make those rotations and make that huge impact, whereas Dwurst, because he's a little bit behind, he needs to find a way back into the game. A slightly experienced margin difference between Wolves and Dwurst, specifically around that 130 per minute mark, and that could slowly build up to the point where Wolves gets level 12 first, and Dwurst could still be sitting at about level 10.5.
And I talked about this at the start of the set, the matchup between these two solo laners in particular and how important it was going to be. Wolves is a really dominant solo laner, and now he's got a little bit more freedom to rotate, as the Oracles do go in favor of Obey Alliance, but they want more than that. They're looking for Transonics, who gets forced out. Brochacho sliding for the moment, but he's going to be okay.
Forcing out the ultimate from Brochacho means that it's going to be more difficult to go for the Gold Fury. Great recognition from Deltamere, avoiding any Storm Kata damage from KP.
He absolutely had to. KhaoticPurpose could easily have locked him down there in that mid lane, but as you pointed out, no ultimate going to be available for Brochacho for a while. It's not just their ability to go after Gold Furies, but a lot of the control that Fafnir gets while he's in that dragon form won't be available either.
Not only do they not have that ultimate, but Coviiii doesn't have boots. Rushing Book of Thoth. This isn't the power spike play that Astral Authority want for team fighting. They're still in farm mode right now, trying to increase the power out of their mid-mage before the action truly begins.
And Wolves just continuing to give Dwurst a hard time in solo, not afraid of the gank. A lot of the times when that tier 1 falls, you don't see the solo push all the way that far up to the tier 2 tower to keep exerting pressure, but he's very confident right now, and he's trying to strip as much farm from this Artio as possible.
And he's actually even maxing out his second ability there, almost fully clearing out those archers because of that cripple field. Normally, you want to max out the third escape ability simply because you're going to get so much more attack speed once you use the Mink, and then also a huge boost in that health shield.
This time, Delta Marine is lurk around that back end, but instead he's focusing just on clearing those back Harpies. And I think I'm seeing why Wolves feel so comfortable. He's got some aggressive warding on Obey Alliance's side of the map, so he'll know if any rotations come in early. This way he can focus on keeping Artio down. How important is it to shut down some of the farm from Artio?
Oh, it's going to be so key, but in the mid lane, even more key is trying to shut down Coviiii here, now finishing off his boots, getting him low enough, but still not using the beads despite that long duration taunt.
He's being almost too cautious with those beads, I might say. He has still stayed alive. Maybe we'll not be able to say the same for Zachsy as KhaoticPurpose rotates in. The Aegis, though, is enough to keep him alive from that damage. pbnjellly's here, taunting in Transonics takes a lot of damage.
The turnaround forcing Trans in the sky, but doing even more damage back to Zachsy. Brochacho trying to make sure that Transonics is going to get out of jail for free there, and that was a great turnaround play. Jelly was there at the right time, even didn't need to use his ultimate, and what's more crucial was that Zachsy elected to go for the Aegis, recognizing that he wouldn't really be in a position to get hard CC'd. As long as he has the Aegis, he'll avoid the damage from Transonics and KP's ultimate.
And that's what worked out for him. He was able to just keep right on walking, get out of that engagement. Luckily, it didn't keep going for Astral Authority, as Delta Marine did rotate a little bit faster than Coviiii was able to. So because they backed off, it really didn't end up becoming much of a problem. And again, we see Wolves back and just continuing to be a bully in that solo lane.
Very close game between such high-caliber North American console teams. 2-2 at the 11-minute mark. KP goes in for those left mid. Harpy still will win one of them, but takes a decent amount of poke for his trouble without too much mana. At level 11, this could be a nice opportunity to do something around the gold.
Now, Soul and Scylla can both have really big impacts in the late game, but do you think that stellar burst damage from Coviiii on the 3 members, but do you feel like either one's gonna have a bigger impact than the other?
Oh, the Scylla by far and away, honestly. Or you're just waiting for that one juicy taunt into that triple root crush combination, not to mention the Am Monster resets. The fact that that mechanic is being able to reset her ultimate ability, that's the difference maker. Imagine if Supernova could reset if you kill somebody with Supernova.
I don't want to imagine.
Fire everywhere.
That's what it would be. It would be fire everywhere. And you're right. Scylla gets a lot from that I'm a Monster, but I think even better was what you said. Being able to set up the Sikkim into the crush damage. That's where Scylla really, I think, makes her money, because that's the ability to let her up more often, and it's where she can sometimes struggle compared to other mid laners, being able to consistently get damage out.
Trying to do whatever they can here is Obey Alliance. They're trying to just hold off this 3-man onslaught in the mid lane, but recognizing that there's no buffs that they can potentially lose. Everything's been completed on their side of the map. They know KP's isolated on the right side, trying to find the pull. Will Jetstream in, and then Stormcutter right on out of there.
And if I'm Obey Alliance, I'm trying to fight away from MOR Wolves right now, who's pretty big. He's up at level 12. Only Zachsy out in front of him at level 13. Definitely significantly up ahead of Dwurst. 2-man taunt to the crush. There's that Sikkim to follow it up, but the shell is enough to keep him alive for the moment. But going back in further is Transonics. He has to go up into the air.
Oh, no, but then there's going to be 4 members from Obey just waiting for him to land. Forced out into the Aegis. So many cooldowns. Myflin is actually going to get intercepted. Astral Authority with a nice bait.
And Delta Marine ends up falling at the back end of that to KhaoticPurpose. 2 members drop in favor of Astral Authority, and that's after Transonics rolled into 4.
That's right. He just baited himself and did a crucial clutch Aegis. All eyes on Transonics, but no eyes on the rest of his team.
And now the eyes are on the Gold Fury. pbnjellly and Dwurst are here. Dwurst charging charging in, but Wolves is here as well, keeping him zoned away for the moment. It's going to be between Coviiii and Transonics to DPS this, while Brochacho and Wolves got to keep them away.
It's a 5-on-3. Gold Fury going the way of Astral Authority. They've confirmed a Dwurst trying to get at least one kill before he takes a spill, but can he get out here? He stuns 3, he's dashing away.
He's running into more Wolves, though, which could be more trouble. Brochacho and Wolves are here. They don't quite have it yet. The hammer toss was good, though, to lock him down. Transonics, perfect person to get credit for that kill. Gold Fury and 3 kills go the way of Astral Authority.
Beautiful plays all across the board from Astral Authority with their 5th kill of the game. Things have certainly picked up the pace in the last 2 minutes with that play that Transonics was able to do. I'm not sure if that roll was intentional or not at first, because it seemed that he was rolling forward against the Skadi, or like he was sliding rather forward, and then he tried to roll on backwards there. But the way the Skadi permafrost works, because you're moving forward, you're going to keep moving forward.
And it was the Aegis afterwards. Everyone dropped all their damage on Transonics the instant he hit the ground, and because the instant he hit the ground, he Aegised, all of the cooldowns were gone. Transonics was probably the healthiest person in the fight after that because of the Aegis.
Myflin uses ultimate trying to intercept him as well, but that timing, like we were talking about, the relic selection, the choices, and timing of it was just too key. Obey Alliance overcommitted on that juicy hunter.
And Transonics is going for just a straight-up damage build, while we're seeing Zachsy go for a build that's focused a little bit more on power and sustain, shift to shield, and actually building into a little more protection.
That's something that Scotties can generally get away with simply because of the physical power provided. If you build into physical power, Kaldir will receive a benefit as well, increasing the charge dash damage from Kaldir. Not only that, the damage from your ultimate is going to increase. You don't necessarily need the attack speed or lifesteal if you're in the back throwing out the permafrost.
Now, Astral Authority grouping around the Portal Demon, but they don't want to pull it just yet. Myflin goes on to Coviiii, actually gets a 2-man stun, pretty big. Has to go through the Cosmos to get away, though, in the back. Brochacho in the Dragon form, looking to find someone to lock down for the rest of his team. Instead, though, they'll just disengage as Myflin returns to base.
And look at that AoE coerce. This Portal Demon will get absolutely melted here. Transonics on the left-hand side. Crush is waiting to be detonated, and it's still going to be Astral with the Portal Demon.
Supernova comes down to confirm it. Dwurst in the back is getting pretty low, but Wolves happy to box against him. Coviiii takes down pbnjellly in the back, while Dwurst just tries to find a way to get out of there. Good crush over the top from Delta Marine.
Stormcutter does get interrupted, but the beautiful pin from Wolves keeping Dwurst in place. Second dead member from Obey Alliance after this Portal Demon. We've seen some early Fire Giants in our days here, Finch, but I don't expect Astral to pull the trigger on this one.
I think that that's the right call for him to go ahead and back off, especially with Brochacho's ultimate duration being over at this point. That core is a big part of where all their DPS is going to come from. And Delta Marine actually getting some good damage. Once again, Transonics rolled into trouble. This time, though, he's done.
No, you can't roll during the Skadi permafrost. You're just going to continuously move forward. He needed to pop the beads and walk backwards after that point, or at least use the ultimate, but it was still on cooldown.
And that's a pretty important return kill for Obey Alliance. Transonics, one of the best farmed characters in the game right now, so he was certainly worth a lot. Delta Marine gets out of there, but it's Myflin who goes up into the air. Coviiii already in the Disapparate form, so that won't be available. Beads come out as well, so Coviiii going to be a little less safe for a while.
Myflin actually backing off of that one, recognizing that there were too many Astral members around the corner. I like the ambitious play, though, from Astral, trying to get that Tier 1 tower. We saw Brochacho tank it for so long, even before minions got there. He still continued to tank it even further once the minions did get there, really wanting to confirm the tower. As long as the minions survive, that gives more timing for Transonics to get the damage off. So with that 10% health tower, it could be sneezed at by Astral Authority.
And Coviii's really starting to look troublesome for Obey Alliance. He's top of the player damage charts right now, 3-0-3 in the kills too. So that's helping out his gold up compared to Delta Marine a lot. He's going to be scary.
It's very important for these mid-majors to just keep going off. These late-game potentials between the two will favor Delta Marine, like we discussed earlier, but that's not to say that Coviiii can't make the impact. The knockup from Supernova, albeit very light and general compared to other knockups such as Bacchus Belly Flop, will still do its job. The Stellar Burst, you add that on top of the Supernova, will control a lot of space.
Coviiii going to be looking to have a lot of impact. We've seen Supernova be big in these team fights as Astral Authority sit up 3,000 gold over Obey Alliance right now, going across that 18-minute mark And so far, Astral Authority have looked every bit the first seed that they are right now.
They're just striking first in almost every single one of these encounters, and unfortunately for them, some of their engagements have been a little bit botched or sloppy, but they've been getting at least something back out of it. And especially for Wolves, who has this 2-level lead, that's where a lot of the lead comes from.
And El Brochacho's the target. He was under a lot of duress. The Supernova comes out to try to help keep him alive, and Delta Marine waits for the end of that dragon form and gets the reset on I'm a Monster, but never gets the fire. The second one, KhaoticPurpose, cleans that one up. Myflin waiting out that Aegis duration. Coviii's right there to follow up, but he lives.
No ultimate available to get away. Myflin will fall to KP. Transonics aiming down the sights, hits the first one, misses the second and the third, but the rest of his team is still on the chase. They want to find another kill onto Dwurst.
Dwurst might have to grin and bear it in that bear form. Lots of Astral Authority members surrounding him. He's able to back on out, though, as he is pretty significantly tanky, but the more important target for Astral Authority is the Gold Fury, as 2 members have already fallen for Obey.
It's a bait, though, because they're all attention onto Zachsy. The pbnjellly ultimate trying to save his hunter on the top side, but on the right side, it's Dwurst that's going to take a spill.
Dwurst gets pulled back in by KhaoticPurpose. Dwurst falls to KhaoticPurpose. The Gold Fury now getting starting up by Transonics as Wolves continues to duke it out against 2. Zachsy, though, might have a little bit too much damage for him. He's going to have to get out of there in that meek form. Gold Fury falls. Astral Authority wins one more fight handily.
The turtle form providing him the health shield. Delta Marine needs to connect this route. Doesn't. He misses. The crush was a little bit too early as well. He pops the health shield. He's going to be able to get on out of there. Jelly, without his dash, he could get turned on here as well.
Wolf Seal being alive is a big deal as Obey tried to find something else on the back end of the engagement, but they're not going to be able to find it. Astral Authority now closer to 5,500 gold up in the lead at this point in the game, and this is where the lead starts to get a little bit out of control.
It's going to be very scary for Obey Alliance as they try to climb back into this one. Myflin around the corner. Going to miss is Chacho onto that Fafnir, not connecting the hammer. He's been able to hit a lot of the hammers throughout the game earlier on, but either way, not too much worry there. It's not the end all be all. Sometimes you just throw him out there to get the 30 gold proc.
And that last fight, Tolly, I feel like a big part of that was Wolves on this Erlang Shen in the back line.
Yes, this Erlang Shen from Wolves has continuously got more and more pressure. After that one initial gank from KP on the right side, Wolves will be the full beneficiary of that one. He's always been really good about stalemating lanes if he has a losing matchup, but whenever you give him a winning matchup with a gank, he's just going to run wild. And because he got this Hide of Urchin very early in the game, recognizing that there's a physical jungler, a magical soul laner, covering both options, now has 5 stacks on that item.
And he's just going to continue to be a terror for him, keeping Zachsy and I believe pbnjellly busy in that last engagement while the rest of his team took down the Gold Fury and Dwurst, who just couldn't stand up to all the damage he was taking. Zachsy actually getting the better of this trade, and Transonics in a lot of trouble.
He needs to run away here. Finally able to dash on backwards. Zachsy bullying Transonics away, but the respect from Transonics, he didn't use the beads or the Aegis. He could have easily fell there.
Respect is one word.
Disrespect.
Disrespect. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was. I feel like I probably think he should use Aegis there, but he makes that either way, Tolly. It was calculated. He had the calculator. He calculated. He knew he'd be fine. 10 more HP than he needed as he continues to walk away. Obey Alliance, though, grouping up on the MOR Wolves over here on the solo lane side. Rotation from Myflin. Delta Marine comes in and gets Coviiii caught in his jungle path. Drops a Supernova, but doesn't quite hit, and then lets Myflin get up into the air. He actually preemptively uses the Aegis, thinking that Myflin was going to land on it.
A little bit too panicky there. Wolves is still on the right-hand side, baiting himself out there. Coviiii, though, needs to retreat. KP needs to retreat alongside Delta Marine on the north. Double stun from Dwurst, still running away. The permafrost going to force out Wolves, though, to keep on the chase.
Wolves does dash into the team fight. Transonics, though, is the one in the back putting out damage. Rolls away this time correctly. Dwurst keeps moving forward to try and get damage out, but that's not the right call. He's taking way more in trade than he ever gave back out. Dragon form comes out from Rochacho, who's looking for more.
Transonics is in the sky. He misses the second one. He's not going to connect on the third either, but still, at the end of the day, Astral Authority are a little bit healthier than Obey Alliance. Zachsy trying to do what he can against Wolves, but the rest of Astral are more concerned with this Portal Demon.
Luckily, pbnjellly has the Defender of Olympus, so he's right back into the fight. Immediately gets locked down, though, by Wolves and Rochacho, and the return damage is way too much. I'm a Monster does hit Wolves, but I don't know if that was the best target, because he lives right on through the burst. Dwurst. Myflin gonna have to keep running.
Running on the north side, but look at what Coviii's doing in the mid lane. He's able to melt the tier 2 tower. It was Dwurst trying to handle it, but not able to really stop it. Brochacho gonna slide into that tier 2 tower, stunning out Zachsy. Could spell a little bit of trouble. There is a mini wave here if Transonics wanted to push this a little forward, but instead he's gonna try to strip away the speed bump, but Dwurst finalizing it with the hand of the god.
And this is good. Come back to the objective. They got a little bit spread out. They moved away from what their original goal was. At the end of that fight, they recognized come back to Portal Demon. Now Dwurst having to stun and dash out of there as everyone used the Portal Demon to come right back in. But Astral Authority now sitting up 8,000 gold, 11-4 in the kills. This game's starting to move into their favor.
Absolutely, especially with KP hitting level 18 as opposed to Myflin 16. The damage has been through the roof, at least on a couple of members from Astral. There's 4 out of 5 members on Astral with top player damage, but Obey having Zachsy play the Skadi without too much attack speed, without actually any attack speed, just pure physical power, is able to command that player damage charts. And if there's an answer for Zachsy, Astral Authority have it. Without even needing to kill him, they're able to just dance around him.
And that fight had an interesting start to it. It looked like a lot of Obey Alliance were trying to catch out Wolves on this right-hand side, so that meant Myflin and Coviiii kind of both rotated to the fight and met there in that jungle path, and Coviiii, I think, had a chance to kill, but the Supernova was a little off the mark. They both end up spreading out as Coviiii gets taken down by Delta Marine. Coviiii was in no man's land between 5 members of Obey.
And no relics as well. The Aegis is coming off a cooldown in 1 second, beats in 123. That gives a small window for Obey Alliance to maybe try to bait something out here around this Fire Giant, but it's still way too early, way too ambitious if they attempt it. Astral Authority would certainly be able to hold 4 on 5.
The bait was, I think, was the call, but Wolves was just standing around, spotting it out, knowing they weren't really up to anything. Transonics alone for now on this left-hand side, but coming over to deter it is Dwurst. I see what you're up to, sir. Let's put a stop to that.
He's not really too worried, honestly, because he has the life seal. Typhoon ripping through, trying to save Wolves. The trip quad pull from KP, still going at it.
That was enough to keep Wolves alive. He got the heal off from the ultimate as well. That turns the team fight on its head. Into the dragon form comes Brochacho, and he's ready to keep going as Wolves dukes it out against Zachsy. That's a huge target that they just lost. Delta Marine falls as well. This fight went huge for Astral Authority.
Myflin without his dash trying to kill KP. He's going to take a spill because Wolves is on the backside. He took out Zachsy. He took out Myflin. He's going to chase Jelly out of there. That's 4 dead members from Obey, and Astral Authority are looking so good in this set.
And if I'm Astral Authority, I'm asking KhaoticPurpose what kind of drink he likes so I can buy him one. Coming up huge on that Susano in that last engagement to get more Wolves out of trouble. Let the heal come off. That turns the entire team fight totally.
Absolutely, because he's so tanky. Level 18 on this Erlang Shen. 9 stacks of the Urchin after that successful 4 for nothing. Shogun's Kusari, Height of Nemean Lion. He's able to just be that tanky absorber with the Thorns as well. It's so difficult for Zachsy and Delta Marine to get the damage off that they want.
Now the Fire Giant will be the call, and looks like no one from Obey Alliance has a chance to slow this one down. Astral Authority already 11,000 gold in the lead. This will only exacerbate things further for Obey Alliance, who despite playing well have just not had quite enough to take it to the top card in North America.
Both of these teams very momentum driven, and it's very difficult to stop either of them once they do get the ball rolling down that hill. And Astral Authority with such a commanding lead here, Obey Alliance are looking up a mountain.
And the scary part, the solo jungle. MOR Wolves and KhaoticPurpose are a combined 7 levels out in front of Dwurst and Myflin. It's scary over there when you consider the solo jungle impact that they're going to be able to have, not to even mention the fact that the supports are a little bit behind pbnjellly, behind Brochacho.
It just couldn't be impactful enough was Dwurst, unfortunately, in this game. That one initial gank, even though Brochacho was the first blood of the game, the second death was Dwurst in the solo lane. And I think after that point, Wolves has been the staple point for Astral Authority. There's a lot of players you can look at from Astral that make the plays happen, but Wolves will just run away with any sort of lead you give him.
And I think you were the one that was saying how important it was for MOR Wolves to keep Dwurst down. He played really far forward in the solo lane, even after the tier 1 tower went down, invested wards into making sure he was safe, and that's why Artio has not been able to be an impact as tier 2 tower falls.
And that was just simply a bait, honestly, even from Wolves. Even if there was rotations trying to alleviate some of that pressure onto that solo lane, it was just a bait simply so that Astral can maybe get a Gold Fury.
pbnjellly gets the taunt on a Coviiii, who does not have anything available. Actually did have beads, just chose to take the damage. Myflin now looking for him in the backline. Aegis already used, knocks him up, and still not able to clean it up. The Supernova knocks him up and creates enough space. Taunt comes out from MOR Wolves to pull them all back into KhaoticPurpose.
Typhoon knocking up 3. Myflin forced the Aegis away. Wolves still chasing the backline alongside Bro Chacho. Transonics is going to roll right in, trying to get those Phoenixes in the sky. Connects onto Delta Marine 1, 2, forcing out the Aegis, holding on to the 3rd shot. Not going to hit the mid Scylla, but instead will confirm the first Phoenix of the game.
Myflin gets pulled back in. Myflin gets deleted. KhaoticPurpose continuing to run a train here on Obey Alliance. Dwurst falls as well. I'm a monster, just not having the impact that they need. Transonics crippled for the moment, leading KhaoticPurpose to yet another kill, sitting 9-1 and 6. Phoenix in left falls. Titan, it's gonna fall next. Look at it get shredded, Toli.
18-5, read the score, and Astral Authority claimed the first game of this set, looking just on fire. They have not stopped their just relenting pressure since Valencia.
No, they looked excellent in that game just now up against Obey Alliance, and that was not up against some easy team by any means. Obey Alliance is full of superstars, and Astral Authority just looked better.
They just have all the right answers, honestly. Yeah. They weren't worried about the damage that Zachsy was doing, even with his build being a little bit more tanky with Shifter Shield, with that Gladiator Shield. But it was just all about dancing around the permafrost, making sure that they weren't in the most awkward position. But KhaoticPurpose here in this game.
Oh, that's Susano.
Oh my goodness. That one save onto Wolves was definitely the MVP play, but he honestly made plays all throughout the game.
Yeah, he was huge setting up for him in this engagement. Just like you're saying, able to pull him in, able to use a lot of control with that ultimate as well. It was the setup that paired perfectly with the Fafnir, which we talked about kind of early on.
He just goes in and out of action, not worried whatsoever. Zachsy's there in the back line. This is not where they kill him, but it's just all a bait because the attention has been shifted to Dwurst. That's been zoning a little bit too far. The miscommunication from Obey Alliance was certainly evident.
And the pull in particular was what was important, because I think Dwurst is probably saying in comms, I still have my dash, I can get away, but KhaoticPurpose rotates back in so fast, pulls him back, and that they're able to finish off that kill.
He was just able to jet stream into the action around corners is what you really need to do as a Susano. Catch people by surprise, pulling them into your teammates. That's exactly what he did to Dwurst in the early stages of the game, shutting down the Artio, allowing Wolves on this Erlang Shen to just really snowball.
And if you recall, I thought it was going to be Obey who were the ones that were starting the fights and pushing the issue, but really is Astral Authority in large part, I think, thanks to KhaoticPurpose being able to help get ahead early over there with Wolves in that solo lane. KhaoticPurpose came up big for him, can't be overstated.
I think Obey Alliance need to reflect on this first game, look at KP, look at the Susano and be like, all right, was it the jungler that was playing the god or was it the actual god himself? And then think about it for picks and bans in game 2.
Yeah, we'll